Hello, everybody. My name is Tatiana Paulay, and I am going to talk about taking control of yourself and your actions and your situations in life. So we all have the ability to make choices, and sometimes we're unaware of our choices and what's happening. Now, have you ever had a situation where you felt like you didn't have a choice, like it was always somebody else's responsibility? We have a tendency to be able to go ahead and point the finger at somebody else when there's something happening in our lives. If there's a problem, there's a situation, something we're uncomfortable with, we have a tendency to go ahead and point the finger at somebody else. It's because this situation happened. It's because he said this. It's because she did that. And there is a saying where whenever you point one finger at somebody, three go ahead and point back at you. Well, that kind of sounds like a blaming kind of game, going back and forth, blaming somebody else and then blaming yourself. Now here, let me help you be able to look at it a little bit differently. Taking control of what's happening in our lives, like saying that, hey, this happened because of me. This happened because of my actions. This happened because there's something that I did here. The second you make a decision to say in your life, to say out loud, to say to yourself that, hey, this happened because of me, that's when you realize you have control. That's when you realize you have more power. That's when you realize you also have more choices and more options. This actually happened to me. This happened to me a little over 5 years ago. It's been an incredible journey for me as I have been working and growing myself. But the most powerful lesson that I have learned, and I even remember when this happened a little over 5 years ago, it was when I finally decided to let go of my children and let my children live full time with their father. I finally stopped pointing the finger at him. I stopped pointing the finger at lawyers. I stopped pointing the finger at the court system. And I started saying to myself, all right, Tanya, how did you play a role in what's happening? And I started asking myself these questions where I pointed the finger at myself and I started saying, okay, could this have happened if I did something else differently in the situation? Would this situation happen if I wouldn't have left? No. So maybe it's because I left. Maybe because I did something. Would this situation with the lawyers and divorce courts and stuff happen if I would have settled and given up a little bit more? How did I play a role in the stress and that problems are happening in my life? So I started asking myself these questions because I was in this bubble. I was in this never-ending circle, and I felt like, what is happening? That person didn't do this person didn't do their part, it was always at somebody else. And all of a sudden, I don't know what happened, I don't know what triggered it, and I don't know where I learned this. But I did know, and I did finally realize that, hey, somehow this is because I did something at some point. Because I didn't do something at some point. Because of the actions that I took, I'm having this problem, I'm having this stress because of what I did. So the only thing that we have control over is ourselves. When we try to change somebody else or point the finger at somebody else, we actually have more of a sense of losing control because we can't control other people. We can only control ourselves. So our willingness to take responsibility and our willingness to verbalize that somehow we had a role to play and our actions had something to do with what's happening in our lives, that's when we feel like we have more control. So try this on. Ask yourself this question. If you're in a relationship and you're struggling, if you're in a situation and you're stressed out, if you have something happening to you at work, if you have something going on with your family, ask yourself this one question consistently all the time, and you're going to see very different results. Ask yourself, how did I play a role in what's happening right now? How did I play a role in this situation? When you start asking that question, you'll start finding very different answers, and you'll start having a lot more options of what you can do in your life and how you can shift things around. Change only happens when we decide that somehow we're responsible, then we have choices. Pointing the finger at other people never helps, because we can't change anybody. We can only change ourselves. I love you. I appreciate you. I hope this helps. I'll see you soon.